Happy Thanksgiving to my listeners who are celebrating this holiday, which leads me to this episode about gratitude. What makes you feel grateful? The expression of gratitude is an amazingly powerful act with benefits for both you as a giver and the recipients. It can feel a bit awkward to express gratitude to people in your professional network, but it's important to consider them too. It's not just for your friends and family. This is Invincible Career, and I'm Larry Cornett. If you're listening to this podcast, you definitely have some reasons to feel grateful. If nothing else, you have access to the internet and probably a computer or phone. I'm sure you have many more reasons to feel grateful, but I don't know you, and so I can't go much beyond those assumptions. And I do too. But sometimes I forget how lucky I am and the many wonderful things I have in my life. I should feel gratitude every minute of every day, but instead I frequently feel like I'm lacking. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm impatient for results, and I'm always wanting something more. I mean, of course, I want my business to grow faster. I want more podcast listeners like yourself. I want more people to join my career community and my solopreneur community. I want to write more books. I want everything that I'm doing to progress more quickly and smoothly. I want. And if you're ambitious and driven, you tend to focus most on what you don't have and focusing on what you want to achieve. You get frustrated by the gap between reality and your expectations. And it's easy to sometimes fall into that trap of, oh, woe is me, or why can't my life be like this person? Why can't I be as successful as this person? Why is everything taking so long? I mean, it's okay to be ambitious. You want to push yourself to achieve more extraordinary things in your life, in your work. You want more out of your career. But it does become a problem if you find yourself focusing too much on your frustrations and you kind of end up whining and complaining, even if you're doing it internally. It's not healthy. It's not healthy to dwell on what you don't have. You don't want to lose sight of how much you do have and how lucky you really are. Things could always be worse. Always. And many, many people around the world have it way worse than you do, way worse than I do. And we sometimes lose sight of that. I just found out day before yesterday, that an old friend of mine, someone I've known for well over 30 years, is in the ICU with COVID. It's not looking good. It's really bad. They're even talking about putting him into somewhat of a medically induced coma so that he can recover. I mean, it's not good. And that's how he's going to spend his Thanksgiving. So before I feel sorry for myself and keep wishing I had more, it's good to take a step back and feel grateful and send healing thoughts to my friend. So there is power in gratitude. There is a good quote from Brene Brown. A good life happens when you stop and are grateful for the ordinary moments that so many of us just steamroll over to try to find those extraordinary moments. There is power in the expression of gratitude, and Brene Brown talks a lot about that. Research has found that feeling grateful is associated with greater happiness, joy, and optimism. You feel more joyful when you express gratitude. It gives you better coping skills to deal with stress. Feeling grateful improves your progress towards your goals. It enhances your self-esteem. It ends up increasing expressions of generosity and gives you more empathy for other human beings. Gratitude helps you build and maintain stronger social relationships, and that shouldn't be surprising. Interesting. You have better physical health. You feel fewer aches and pains. You sleep better when you are someone who regularly expresses gratitude. And then finally, you have higher levels of alertness, enthusiasm, attentiveness, determination, energy. I mean, there are plenty of articles out there on the internet, plenty of books on the topic of personal gratitude. I shared a link to an article that I think is excellent. If you go to newsletter.invinciblecareer.com, this is What Makes You Feel Grateful, issue 331. So in this article, they have all these suggestions for how you could express gratitude, how you could be more mindful. And I think they also included a gratitude challenge. So I don't think you need to hear me tell you how to express gratitude to your friends or your loved ones. I'm sure you already do that. But I think we sometimes forget to extend this to people we work with, the people we work with every day, the people we encounter in our professional lives. So I want to talk a little bit about how to express gratitude professionally. And you might be thinking, gratitude is gratitude. I already see a lot of it. I already see lots of people expressing gratitude in the workplace. But I want you to take a moment and think about that. Is it really the type of genuine gratitude that leads to those benefits that I described? I can tell you in my decades of professional experience, I haven't seen that much of it, that much genuine gratitude. I mean, yeah, people give the cursory thank you when you help them or when you complete some task. Thanks. Leaders send an email blast to the entire company. And it happens right around this time of the year, the holidays. And they tell everyone how much they appreciate all of their hard work. But they also don't forget to remind you there's even more hard work ahead. We're just barely getting started. Your boss might even say, hey, well done, when you complete a project ahead of schedule. So I'm not talking about that lazy leader approach or the knee-jerk thanks that you get from a coworker. I'm talking about a meaningful and personal expression of gratitude for someone else that shows you really know them and you really are thinking about how they positively impacted your life. So you can begin by making a list of all the people professionally you would like to acknowledge. One way to do this is to export your LinkedIn connections. I included a link to that because it is buried. That setting, that feature is buried pretty deep in your LinkedIn profile. But you can do that and export all of those professional connections, which lets you import it into a spreadsheet, use Excel or Numbers or Google Sheets, and use that list as a starting point. It gives you essentially a simple relationship management tool. And I've recommended this in the past because I think it's a great way to reconnect with your network, and this is fantastic for your career. I've written a lot of articles about that. So once you have that spreadsheet, then you can add more names. There are going to be people that you consider as part of your professional circle that may not be connected to you on LinkedIn. And you can add more columns for other data, like who the person really is, how you met, what they do professionally, how you worked with them, and what influence they've had on your life. So take notes and just think about what they have done for you in the past recently. And then you can add columns to track when you last contacted them and the method of communication. So did you send an email to say thanks? Did you text them and say, I really appreciate your help with that? So I want to talk about 9 types of people, groups of people you may want to reconnect with to express your professional gratitude. And as I just said, doing this will also boost the power of your network. It's going to improve your professional relationships. But more importantly, this act of appreciation, it's good for you. It's obviously good for them. They're going to appreciate it, but it's good for you too. So the first group are past educators. So do you have a teacher, from grade school or high school? Do you have a professor in college, someone who made a difference in your life? Have you ever told them how much they helped you, how much they influenced your career path? I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. I know it's probably been quite a few years since you last saw them. But believe it or not, it's never too late to express gratitude. For example, a couple of years ago, I was back on my old college campus. I was showing my sons around. And I walked by where I thought my professor's office would be, and there, lo and behold, there it was. One of my favorite professors still teaches there, and he wasn't there, unfortunately. So I wrote a note and left it on his door, slid it under his door, I don't remember, just to say thank you. He was a terrific educator. He really helped me with my decision to pursue graduate school. Helped me get it together, reviewed my letters I was writing. I wouldn't have gone on to graduate school without his help. And I haven't seen him in like 27 years. It's been a long, long time. But I don't think I ever really expressed gratitude. So it felt good to acknowledge him and to let him know how much it meant to me. The second category are past bosses. So think back to your past bosses and managers who played a part in your professional achievements, your growth. Take a moment to write down some thoughts about how they helped you and how much you appreciate that. And the important thing is you have to let them know. I know this is awkward, but you have to let them know. You could tell them in person if you still see that person around. Send an email. You could mail a physical thank you note. Remember the physical mail? It still exists. Now, I can count on one hand the leaders I've worked for who really made a positive difference in my life. Most bosses are kind of just average. They're okay. They're not great. They're not bad. They're okay. There are a few terrible ones, and I'm sure we all can remember them, but there are a few great ones that really made a difference. A few years ago, I sent a message to one of those people to let them know how much I appreciated what they did for me, even though it had been more than 20 years ago. And guess what? They were delighted to hear from me. This person said that it made their day. They felt good. I felt good. It was a good thing. The third group of people, past colleagues. So similarly, I'm sure there are some fantastic coworkers and colleagues from your past. You probably enjoyed working with a few people. You think back and remember them fondly. Well, if you haven't, it's time to let them know. And I know we sometimes feel too shy to express gratitude in person. It feels awkward for some of us. You get better at it, but I remember I still feel a little shy about it. But with time and distance, it becomes more comfortable. So take the time to do it. Reach out to a past coworker. Let them know what you appreciated about them, that you remember something where they helped you. People always appreciate that. The fourth group, past employees. So if you were ever a manager, leader, supervisor, still are. And even if someone no longer works for you, you can still tell them that you appreciate what they did for you and what they did for the team. Expressing gratitude to an employee doesn't have to stop when their employment with you ends. It's not just a game you're playing. This is a human-to-human interaction. And most of us work in, fairly small industries. It feels that way. Your paths will cross again. If you enjoyed working with someone, let them know. It's even easier when they're no longer on your team, since now you can be completely open about it. You don't have to worry about how you're playing favorites. You're saying thank you to one employee and not the other. This is someone that used to work for you, and there's no longer some weird HR thing where you can't express gratitude. The fifth one's a little tricky. So it's current leaders, current managers, your current boss. And it is undoubtedly a bit more challenging to express genuine gratitude to your current manager or more senior leaders in your organization or company. You do not want to look like you're kissing up. This is why it's tricky. You don't want to look like you're trying to curry favor and like, hey, I'm going to kiss up and try to get favors from you. This is what it is not about. And you should only do this if you genuinely mean it. Don't just do it because, oh, they're my boss, I should say it. You have to have specific examples of what you appreciate about them. In some ways, you can look at this as coaching your boss. I mean, you're providing positive feedback and letting them know that something they've done is noticed. Something they do is valued by you. And as a leader, and I was a leader with teams for well over 20 years, I can tell you that it's rare for an employee to sincerely thank you for the role you play. It's really rare. I mean, the insincere flattery, that happens all the time, all too often. It doesn't feel good. You can tell when it's fake. It gets really old. But genuine gratitude is always appreciated. And when it comes with positive feedback, something specific, something that can help guide you in your leadership development. It's like, oh, people appreciate that. I didn't know. It's good to hear. I should do more of that. I mean, we already get enough negative feedback, believe me. You get tons of negative feedback. Lots of negative feedback from your boss, lots of negative feedback from some of the team members. So hearing something that's genuinely positive and it's true gratitude, that's helpful. The sixth group is current employees. Again, it's more challenging to express genuine gratitude to your current employees. But one way to think about this is it's almost like a performance review with only the positive feedback element. Now, this doesn't have to be a 20-page gratitude report, but do not take this time to add areas for improvement. Save that for the official performance review. I mean, don't say something like, I really appreciated how hard you worked on project X, but maybe next time you should do ABC. Don't do that. That's not gratitude. That's coaching, which is great, but it's not gratitude. So you should be very specific about why you are grateful for each employee in a one-on-one conversation or, a Slack message or an email, whatever it is that you use to communicate. Don't do that lazy email blast to the entire team. You may still want to do that, but that's not going to count as a gratitude exercise to an individual. That whole thank you for all of your amazing effort this quarter, team. Great. I'm sure you'll probably send an email like that. But if you're going to truly be grateful to an employee, it has to be personal. It has to be one-on-one. And share examples of the things that the employee has done that make you glad they're on the team. That can be very specific work stuff, the work they did on a project, the way they led a meeting, but it can also be other things like I really appreciate how you motivate the other team members. You bring people up, make them feel better. Or I appreciate how you bring information from outside of the organization into the team and educate people. I appreciate how you're always on time for meetings. I mean, it's nice. People are always late, but you're on time. Things like that. Group 7 is current colleagues. So these are kind of your peers. And it's a little easier to express gratitude to your current colleagues. Way easier than to your boss or to your employees. It's not as tricky to navigate. Think about the coworkers you enjoy working with, the people you really value. It can be colleagues in the same organization, so your peers in like other designers or other product managers or other salespeople, whatever. But don't forget people in other orgs who have supported you. And people sometimes do. They treat other orgs as just, you're there to support me, it's your job. And let me tell you, I hear this all the time. It's like, I don't have to thank somebody for doing something they're getting paid to do. I mean, are you kidding me? What a rude way to behave in this world. When someone helps you, when someone serves you, and this can be out in the world too, restaurants, small businesses, be a decent human being and show gratitude. Just because you're paying somebody doesn't mean you treat them like that. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. But I know I've been lucky to work with some amazing people in HR, recruiting, PR, marketing, legal, the community team, support, sales, you name it. I worked in design and product management. Tons of other people that I worked with had to. Work is always stressful. It's demanding. So people love to hear that they've made a difference. They want to hear that you appreciate them. It's made such a huge difference in people's lives just to genuinely say, hey, thank you for supporting me. And I appreciate what you did in this meeting. You went to bat for me, and I have never forgotten that. So be specific. Group 8 are advisors, mentors, coaches, people like that. And it may seem obvious that you should also take the time to thank any advisors or mentors or coaches who have guided you during your career, your mentors at work. But you'd be surprised by the number of mentees that never bother to express gratitude. I mean, some people forget that advisors and mentors are often taking time out of their busy schedule to help others for free. They're not getting paid to do it. And it's not like we all have tons of extra time just floating around. So they're doing you a huge favor if they're advising you and helping you. If you've been fortunate enough to have someone play this role for you, it makes sense to let them know how much you appreciate them. Just send a quick message. It could be something like, hey, I don't know if I've ever fully expressed how grateful I am for your mentoring. Thank you for taking the time to give me feedback. Thank you for helping guide me in my career decisions. I appreciate you. I appreciate your help. It doesn't have to be a long message. But again, these people who've helped you and coached you, it's been a huge favor, and it doesn't hurt to say thank you for that. Finally, friends in your professional community. I hope that you have people you consider to be friends and people you appreciate in your professional life. So this isn't coworkers or bosses or anything like that. These are people I hope you've built relationships with outside of your company. I know I have what I would call my inner circle of trusted people who are my confidants. I've had this for a long time, and people flow in and out of that, but it's a tight inner circle. Everyone needs people they can turn to for advice and feedback and, even a little sympathy from time to time. Work can be rough. It can be stressful. You can start feeling really down. Sometimes you just need some friends who get it. People that are in your profession or your industry, not necessarily in the same company, but people who get it and they can commiserate from time to time. So let them know that you're grateful for their friendship and you appreciate them. And hopefully they already kind of know this, but everyone enjoys being appreciated. So I want to wrap this up by taking a moment to express my own gratitude. And I'll start with a quote from Brené Brown. I don't have to chase extraordinary moments to find happiness. It's right in front of me if I'm paying attention and practicing gratitude. Writing this article, doing this podcast episode, it allowed me to reflect on what I'm grateful in my life. The things I'm grateful for. And I needed this exercise just as much as anyone else does. I need it a lot. I've been feeling down more than usual lately. I talked about that if you follow me on social media. I'm more frustrated, I'm irritated, I'm stressed. The winter blues have kind of caught up with me. So I took a few minutes and I captured my thoughts on gratitude and the good things in my life. And here's what came to mind. So first, I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful that you make time in your schedule to listen to my podcast. Those of you that read my newsletter, thank you. I know you have a busy life, so I want you to know that I appreciate you giving me some of your valuable attention. Time is a very valuable commodity, so I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm grateful to my premium subscribers and clients. I mean, you're why I created this business. You're why I have a business. I hope that I can keep serving you for many, many more years to come. Your patronage makes it possible for me to record this podcast, to write articles, and to build my coaching practice. I'm grateful to my loving wife. I'm grateful for my amazing children. I'm grateful for my health, especially now. I talked about my friend, and your health is so important. So, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I'm able to work and provide for my family. I'm grateful that I created a business I love, and it allows me to work remotely. It allows me to work on my own schedule and from anywhere. I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful to my loving parents. Just saw a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they raised me to be independent, to question things, to constantly pursue knowledge. They also showed me how to be a good father, a good parent through their actions. And finally, I'm grateful for the friends who stuck by my side all these years as my life and my career have changed so much. And I'm no longer doing anything close to what I used to do. Thank you for staying by my side and continuing to be a good friend. So thank you, dear listener. Thank you again for listening, for reading my articles. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving celebration if you do celebrate this holiday, and can take some time to relax with your friends and family. Enjoy. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you would like to follow upcoming releases of the show, please subscribe. And as always, I appreciate your ratings and reviews. Thank you. If you would like to learn more about Invincible Career and the podcast, you can visit invinciblecareer.com. Until next time, I wish you the best of luck in becoming an opportunity magnet for the best things in life.